So SK Under the Dome sent a $5 super chat and said, you should check out the quick video, Bethesda Actually Hates New Vegas by Ninethie Plays, I think. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but you say it's pretty validating, LOL. I looked up the video. I found it. We did our research. It is a quick video that just, again, is labeled Bethesda Actually Hates New Vegas. Let's see. I'm not familiar with this, but I do know who that is. Let's see. I'm gonna have to move the cameras. Professional streamer. Look how easy that was. Seamless. Let's see.
Wild.
This is hugely morale boosting. I thought we did a good product for you guys that kept Fallout public consciousness, but you guys don't seem very happy about it, despite the fact you got.
So he's talking about New Vegas launches. Bethesda seems to not be particularly happy with it and seems to be upset.
You reaped a lot of the rewards for it.
Bethesda. Even their employees can't help themselves but show bitter resentment towards more beloved games, like that of New Vegas.
A lot of feelings about it. I think, you know, I post a lot of Fallout content on my Instagram or on YouTube or what have you, and a lot of, you know, you always get those guys jumping out of the woodwork to be like, New Vegas is the best, Bethesda sucks, you know, and I'm kind of like, okay. I felt a little bit like touchy about it because I was like, well, we made 90% of the art. We built the engine. We did all that stuff. We did it in a very limited window of time, and we like put in all this effort, and they got to just work on the stories, right? Like all that. And so I felt like
in 18 months. I mean, to be fair, I will say there is a good amount of evidence of just Bethesda being weird. I mean, these are clips with individual developers and stuff, which is very interesting because I haven't seen most of these as far as I'm aware. But I have seen plenty of clips where people will like say to Todd or something, you know, something about New Vegas, and it just gets weird. The energy just gets weird. It's like people forget that we helped make that game. It's like, what? Okay. There's just a weird energy. What I've compared it to is it gives the same vibe as like Bethesda is the older brother. New Vegas and Obsidian, they're the younger brother. Okay. Bethesda, the older brother, makes Fallout 3. It does really well. They're very proud of it. They revitalize Fallout, take it from one format and genre into a new one, and get lots of critical acclaim for it. And then Obsidian comes in. They get the IP from Bethesda. By most accounts, it seems like Bethesda at the time, they've kind of retconned it, but they've kind of reframed it as, no, we gave them the rights. The reporting from the time seems to suggest that this was more of a Robert Altman thing where he wanted to give the IP to somebody else so that they wouldn't have to wait a decade between games. Imagine that. And so they did this spin-off game with Obsidian, and Bethesda wasn't that happy with it. Like, they had just acquired the license, and then the license is being given to somebody else to make a game. They weren't too thrilled with that. And so there's always been this energy of like, older brother makes this thing, younger brother does something similar, but everybody loves the younger brother's thing more. And so the older brother just feels kind of inadequate, even though he also feels like, you couldn't have done that without me. You know, there's just a kind of bitterness about it, which is seemingly reflected here.
Like, it's a little unfair that we're being judged on not having the storylines, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
Well, you did Fallout 4 as well, so you did have another chance. Just saying.
Bethesda hates New Vegas. Shocker. But now we have...
No, I don't think hates. I think they're bitter about it. I think it's a little different. Because
proof of that.
Man, we like put in all this effort, and they got to just work on the stories.
If you've been living under a rock, for the longest time there's been this rumor, speculation, theory, an online idea that Bethesda hated New Vegas and often resents the success of the game, and also often used whatever they could to stifle the devs out of doing another Fallout.
Bethesda used review scores against us for the DLCs for like why they didn't want to keep doing things with us anyway.
Given the online reception of the game forming into quite a cult classic appreciation, it's not hard to understand or see why someone might get a little jealous of this, especially if you were also a project lead. Todd Howard, however, sure did get his revenge with the TV show, huh?
Who's laughing now?
Baldur's Gate 3! Baldur's Gate 3! Baldur's Gate 3! Baldur's Gate 3! Congratulations, Larian!
Who's laughing now?
I can tell this editor really likes the slowdown effect.
recent interview with none other than gaming icon Chris Avellone by TK Mantis, a lot of truth bombs were dropped. Not just the low yield type either. Chris and TK speak on many different topics, from the love of Van Buren to different ideologies to the concept of, or the view of, the TV show.
Season 2, and I got right up to the beginning of episode 3, and I honestly just couldn't go on any longer.
As well as something like Wild Wasteland being a setting and not a perk, which I completely agree with. 2, Bethesda using DLC quality and audience reception against the developer, Obsidian, quoting things like the audience reception and intention behind Dead Money being used.
Well, I think so. One thing you just have to understand about BGS as a company, and this has become very clear as we've looked at them a lot on these streams. Bethesda, Todd has said it a few times, but the best way he put it was that, in his opinion, it's okay to miss things, and that is both like an artistic opinion, but it's also a business decision. Because when you miss something, what happens when they announce the next one? Ooh, no way. A sequel after 15 years? Here we go. You know, it makes it way more exciting. And Todd is the master of hype. Todd is the master of hype. Love it or hate it, you know? Loves it. Utilizes it to great effect. And I think that that's part of the reason. Like, they wanted control of the IP, because it was their baby at that point. They had done a lot of work with Fallout 3 and they wanted to build it out the way they wanted to build it out. And so they didn't want Obsidian becoming the Fallout studio. They're the Fallout studio. They want themselves to be the Fallout studio. So they wanted to take control of it once more. And I think that was both just a matter of control of the IP that they it seems like they owned it effectively. You know, it was theirs to control. And I think it's also just a desire that if they pumped out too many Fallout games, if they started doing a lot of spin-offs, it would make those big moments not as exciting. Like Fallout 4 wouldn't have been the big moment it was when it launched if they had put out another Fallout New Vegas spin-off or Fallout New Vegas-esque spin-off in like 2012 or 2013. It wouldn't have hit the same than if, you know, it's been years since we saw it. So I think that it's both a business side and also like maybe a personal desire to have exclusivity with it. But yeah, I think that's just something that's core to how Bethesda treats things, is that they are totally fine with you missing things and not getting a fix for a good long while, and doing more and more spin-offs directly contradicts that approach they have with their IP in general.
Against them. Which is ironic, given Bethesda is also responsible for the worst DLC the franchise has ever seen, and my top 10 worst DLCs of all time, Mothership Zeta. But the cherry on top, this little lore drop, the gold nugget everyone needed to hear was this.
But yeah.
And also, Bethesda used review scores against us for the DLCs for like why they didn't want to keep doing things with us anyway, even though they didn't want to do anything anyway. So whatever.
Well, I think you got to remember, again, our understanding is that Robert Altman, who was in charge of ZeniMax, is the one that gave the IP to Obsidian and kind of made that happen. And so I think what needed to happen was that BGS needed a way to justify to Robert Altman that they shouldn't do this again. And so they needed to have pieces of evidence to go to Robert Altman and say, no, don't give them the IP. Let us do it with Fallout 4. So I think that they were using review scores of like the DLCs to see like, see, they're undervaluing the brand. They're doing all of this. You know, I think that's what they wanted to do. Avery, very generous. Gee whiz, $50 super chat. This sentence is false. Have a fantastic day. That broke my brain. Thank you. You too, my friend. You too.
Definitely talk about that.
Oh,
Very generous.
It was fun. They had a whole PowerPoint. Not even about the DLC. They had a whole PowerPoint about all the things Obsidian did wrong. And we're like, wow. And they showed it to us. And we're like, okay.
That's absolutely wild.
This news broke like a few weeks ago from this interview where Chris showed this and like mentioned that there was a PowerPoint outlining all the things they did wrong and that they showed it. Like, I just want you to take a moment and appreciate this. They put out Fallout New Vegas, a bunch of DLC for New Vegas, and then Bethesda schedules a meeting with them. This is circa like 2010, 2011, maybe right before or possibly right after Skyrim. Okay. And then they like, this is pre-Zoom, right? So they probably like literally flew out, they met in person, and they do a PowerPoint presentation on all the things you guys did wrong and why we're not working together anymore. Like, that's insane. That's unhinged. Like, at least have some decency and just ghost them. Like, that's madness. It's a breakup presentation. Literally. Honestly, I love PowerPoint. So if somebody broke up with me, I'd respect them more if they did it through a PowerPoint. I'd be like, I wasn't sure about this breakup, but after seeing it in a visual presentation, I can understand. So honestly, maybe it's brilliant.
This is hugely morale boosting. I thought we did a good product for you guys that kept Fallout public consciousness, but you guys don't seem very happy about it, despite the fact you reaped a lot of the rewards for it. So,
and now there's like some credit being taken where, like, in the press tour for season 2 of the show, I remember hearing clips of Todd being like, people forget we published that game, we worked with them closely on that, so now that everybody loves it, it's convenient to take credit for it and act like it's great. But at the time, they were apparently quite upset to the point where they're doing presentations on all the crap they thought they did, which is wild. Wild.
Anyway, so there was that. So, like,
in the market are things that we've done. But at the end of the day, you look at
the PowerPoint crashed. That's a good touch. That's a good touch. That's a gal. You got me there. Todd's like, it's not working. It's not working. You guys told me this would just work, and it's not. This might be the last time the candle goes, man. It is low. I think we've had to replace it once already because it burned through. We talk about Todd a lot. Continuing.
the player response and how can we do, better. Say, what else this percentage of it?
That's right, you heard that correct. I'll play it again.
He did a whole PowerPoint about all the things Obsidian did wrong. And we're like, wow.
Bethesda made a PowerPoint presentation on everything Obsidian did wrong with Fallout New Vegas, and then forced the team to watch it. Everything said in this interview really does drive home the fact that
I just don't the old question. Let's go all platonic on this. Why? Or Socrates, not Plato. Socrates. Why? Oh no, Todd. Oh my God. We were too harsh. We were too harsh. Oh my God. Todd is smoking. Oh my God. Oh, Todd. It was a good run. It was a good run. Now we've got to move him over to another scent. We could do Macintosh apple. I've got pumpkin pie. You know what? It might be a pumpkin pie kind of day. We'll do that. You killed Todd. Okay, hold on. Drink it. I can't. It's solidified. Don't you think I want to? Don't you think I want to? If I could fix this, don't you think I want to? Let's do whipped pumpkin spice. This is going to be Todd's new home for a little while. Okay. Todd, we transfer thy spirit into this new candle, where you shall call home. I can't get your sacred tape off of your housing. Let us open it in joy and blessing and kindness, placing it upon thy new home, taping it firmly upon. And in the words of the book of Todd, chapter 4, verse 20, blaze it. Amen. There we go. Okay, much better, much better. Todd's okay, everybody. Todd's okay. Todd's okay. We can continue now. Praise be indeed. Luke, why didn't you get invited to Elder Scrolls 6 preview stuff? I don't know. If I ever go, you better believe I'm bringing him a candle as a gift. You better believe it. Maybe it's seen as a bribe. I don't care. I don't care. Don't even care. Cancel me. I don't care. Continuing.
We were right. I mean, for years we've been saying that Todd hates New Vegas, that Todd is jealous of New Vegas, and now we've got proof of that. I mean, we had proof.
This is what I was saying. I want to go all Socrates on it. Dude, Todd smells good. We should have swapped your home out faster, dude. So what I was saying is why? Like, just ask yourself, why would a company need to create a presentation, something that takes effort and labor, and then go, and even if it's a video call, that's still scheduled. But again, this is like 2013, or not 2013. This is probably like 2011, 2012. I don't know when the last DLCs were. Maybe I can just ask. When was the last DLC for Fallout New Vegas released?
Final Story DLC Lonesome Road launched on September 20th, 2011. 2 additional item packs, Gunrunner's Arsenal and Courier's Stash, were released shortly after on September 27th, 2011.
So they had a meeting with them right around like Skyrim, if not right after. Like, they're very busy with Skyrim, which is about to be like the biggest game of all time at that point. And they made a point to create a presentation on everything they did wrong with New Vegas and show them why. Like, is it just, was it constructive feedback because they wanted to work together again? Demonstrably not. They never worked together again. And according to Chris, like, it was not a good meeting. Like, it was not a fun meeting. Let's figure out how to do better next time. That's not what this was. To humiliate them, that's the only, I mean, what else am I supposed to think? It kind of comes off as like humiliation. Like, you're going to sit here and listen while we lecture you. You see what we just made? Bitch. Skyrim over there. Look at the horns on the helmet. The dragons can talk. You can go up that mountain. Yes, you have to take stairs and a couple loads, but you can get there. Like, that's what it seems to me. It seems like, what else am I supposed to think? It's not constructive. They never work together again. Oh, it's a professional courtesy. How is it a professional courtesy to go and do a presentation of all of the things you hate about their work that everybody else likes, by the way? Like, it comes off bad. Pettiness. Yeah, it's I don't even know what word to use for it, but yeah, it's this, like, again, I guess bitterness is just how it feels. It's that like petty bitterness where like they felt like they were better than them, probably in the wake of Skyrim, because they probably were doing this right. If they're doing a presentation in the aftermath of the DLC, going through all the things they didn't like about the DLC and how they handled it, that probably realistically means they probably didn't do the meeting in October. The game launched in early November. So it's probably like early 2012 they have that meeting rambling about all the things they hated. So they are at their peak coming off Skyrim, and they just are talking down to Obsidian about all this, and it just comes off as like, daddy, chill.
Before, but there's more proof now. We knew we were right, but this point is completely irrefutable at this point. The development team at Bethesda were absolutely jealous of the praise New Vegas got, and that project leads at Bethesda were also spiteful of the spin-off success, to the point where internal and review sabotage has been alluded to. Now, feel free to deny this. I know there's going to be people in the comments saying, well, this didn't happen, this isn't true, you're reading into this too much, but at this point, the proof kind of stacks against any other claims. Feel free to pick an interview where Todd, who's notorious for lying, says this isn't the case. The issue is, however, we have Bethesda's own developers saying this, confirming their jealousy of New Vegas, so it all correlates.
And they got to just work on the stories, right? Like,
which again is just such a baffling reframing, a retcon. Yes, they had the engine, they had assets provided to them. They did have to make some original, because obviously it was in a different setting than, it's not like Bethesda made, Lucky 38. So they were able to use a lot of stuff they got from Bethesda, but they also had to pump that game out in 18 months under extreme crunch based on the limitations put on them by Bethesda. Like, and it's this, I'm not sure who this individual is, but if it's somebody that worked on Fallout, looks like he's got the Skyrim Collector's Edition statue in the back. So probably a developer from that era. And he's expressing the same kind of bitterness, and the contempt is like another word that I would use here. It's this very pointed feeling. Contempt is an intense feeling of superiority, disdain, and disrespect, often acting as destructive poison in relationships by treating partners as worthless. Does that ring a bell to what we just heard? I think Bethesda, probably the best word is that Bethesda had contempt and has contempt for Obsidian surrounding Fallout New Vegas. And bear in mind, like I need everybody to just remember, New Vegas did not launch at like a 95 Metacritic, okay? It launched in like the low 80s. I believe it was 84. It was 1 point shy of when they would have gotten bonuses. With that score, you know, it was considered to be good, but it was super buggy, broken at times. But what was there was so good that even with it being broken in a lot of places, it still was really, really good. Really, really good. But it took a few years for it to achieve its full like cult classic status. And in the wake of Fallout 4, a lot of people went back to it and found the writing quality, the choice and consequence to be so significantly better than like Fallout 4 that it really was solidified. It's like, okay, no, I think this is the best Fallout game we've gotten. With Fallout 76, you better believe it was even locked in even more at that point, even more. So it's been in the years even after this presentation where it's just been solidified even more. And now they're doing the Fallout TV show and they go and set a season in New Vegas. And again, very conveniently, all of a sudden now they're talking it up because people are fans of it and love Fallout New Vegas. And conveniently it's like, well, people forget we published it. We helped them build that. You would never guess that they did a humiliation presentation and humiliation ritual, making everybody sit through that. Fallout, maybe I can find the clip. Oh, is this it?
Obsidian now being under the same Microsoft umbrella, has that opened up more opportunities for collaborations like New Vegas? And I'll stop you right there, Todd. We all saw the headlines. You hate New Vegas. You hate Obsidian. You've retconned them out of the timeline. It just doesn't exist. So you don't even have to answer this question if you don't want to.
First, I'll say they did an amazing job with New Vegas. We see some of that. And I'll say to everybody, like, that's a game that we published, right? So it's also kind of, it's yeah.
Would you guess based on this framing that they did a presentation lecturing them and bashing them? I don't think so. I think this is maybe a little bit of reframing.
And I would say Fergus, who runs Obsidian, is absolutely one of my favorite people in the...
When he's doing what I tell him to do. When he's sitting down and listening, not doing whatever the crap he was with New Vegas, damn it.
Video game industry. And he's been around for so many decades, has done so many things, and has seen it all. So they do a fantastic job. I can't speak to...
Do they, though? Would you have said that back 15 years ago? Do you think? Do you think? Did a fantastic job? Incredible job? Do you think? Maybe?
Things that we're doing with the franchise in the future, obviously. But New Vegas is a very, very important game to us and our fans. We think they did an incredible job. And if anything, the show is leaning into, right, the events there.
Just a bit by that final shot of the show. Just a bit it's leaning in.
Yeah. And obviously season 2 is going to be featuring some of New Vegas. And we're careful about, maintaining the key events of that game and the great content in it. It is obviously difficult to deal with when you're going back to an area where a game had multiple endings.
Yep.
We have some answers there, but it's hard. It is, I'll just admit, everybody realizes it's hard to sort of canonize or say this is exactly how that game ended. And so whenever...
So we just don't do anything. We just don't say a word. Anyway, I want to be clear with all this. The reason that this is even a topic again is because people love Fallout New Vegas and they feel like there has just always been some funk around the discourse. And I feel like a lot of this just reaffirms it.
So to recap, we have had a long-standing theory that Bethesda purposely made development hell for the folks of Obsidian. They used DLCs as an angle.
Well, to be clear, I want to be level-headed about this. I don't think they made development hell. I think they were on strict timelines because they needed to get the game out at a reasonable cadence and budget. It was supposed to be a spin-off for basically a cash grab. And let's be completely real. That's what New Vegas was supposed to be. I don't think they expected it to be considered a masterpiece. They thought they were going to get it out quickly. Robert Altman would get some money to keep the brand kind of active in people's minds before Fallout 4 eventually comes out a number of years later. And so they just put a lot of strict restrictions on it. And let's be real, I don't think they wanted New Vegas to surpass their game in terms of quality and everything. But I don't think that they were actively sabotaging. I know people have claimed that. But I've defended Bethesda on this point. People suggesting that there's some sort of cruelty or problem with them putting a goal for bonuses. They said if you get an 85 Metacritic, you get bonuses. The Metacritic scores came in at 84. That's not a scandal. Okay, they set a goal, they didn't meet the goal, you know? So I don't see that as like manipulation. Now, if a story comes out that like they were paying reviewers at outlets to give it a worse score so they would have the average below 85, yeah, that's a problem. But as far as I'm aware, there's no claim of that. They just claim that because the threshold was 85, that was somehow unfair, which I don't think is unfair. They set a bar, they didn't clear the bar, so they don't get the bonuses. That's just kind of how life is. Same thing, if you need a 75 to pass this class in school, but you scored a 74, sucks to suck, you know? Sucks to suck.
To not rehire Obsidian for another Fallout game. Bethesda devs felt that they did all the work for New Vegas and all Obsidian did was write the story, and yet Obsidian gets all the praise. Bethesda, Todd, Emil, whatever, made a PowerPoint on everything wrong with New Vegas, and
it really makes you wonder what those conversations inside the studio are like. Like when the doors are closed, cameras are off, lights are off, and they're just talking candidly with each other. How do they talk about all this? I mean, if they are in front of the other company doing presentations and like lecturing them, that's kind of wild. So just imagine like some of those conversations.
Forced Obsidian to watch it. And now, with season 2 of the Fallout TV show, we got...
Yeah, Crimson Desert got a 7 and got thick bonuses. They even got a 45 out of 100 from one outlet. Well, and I mean, that was, I think, remarkable because it sold remarkably well. And of course, I think we're all going to praise Pearl Abyss for giving out bonuses like that, even despite the Metacritic score. It's almost like Metacritic scores do not actually directly correlate to quality or whether you're going to enjoy something. Sometimes it's a rough guideline, sure, but it's almost like Metacritic scores are kind of stupid. It's almost like a Metacritic score might not actually reflect what you'll think of the game. You know, it's wild.
A highlight reel of New Vegas either being destroyed or being ruined. The King dead, the NCR crippled, the Legion goofy jock bros.
Kaiser's palace.
House dead but not dead. The Courier, a fan favorite character, almost completely ignored, absolutely character assassinating that character completely by just making them a homicidal maniac. In a season set in New Vegas, we also barely get anything set in the Mojave, and we get Fallout 4 music instead of New Vegas thematic music, even during moments where it really shouldn't have been. Hell, even the Strip is reorganized into whatever cul-de-sac. Word to the wise, Bethesda, there's a reason it's called the Strip. I mean, at this point, it would be in Todd's best interest, at least from a audience perspective and reception, because we know you like those, Todd, from that perspective, to just come out and say, hands up and say, yeah, I hated how successful New Vegas was. Sorry, that wasn't nearly whiny enough. Because it quite literally couldn't be more plain as day than this. And I'm sorry, but this is the validation and vindication we've been waiting for. Bethesda hated New Vegas. They hated the success of the game. They hate the reception of the game. They hate the fact that everybody always talks about the game. That's why they're trying to bleed New Vegas fans dry, because they hate you, but they know you'll buy stuff.
They hate you. I was like, it's a very dramatic framing. They hate you. I don't think they hate you. I think it's, like I said, it gives off the energy of like older brother to younger brother. There's just this kind of contempt for it, where they feel like Obsidian doesn't maybe deserve, or New Vegas doesn't deserve the attention, love, and admiration that it has gotten. And the fact that even though Fallout 4 has all these extra mechanics and all the base building, and there's so many settlements that need help, it isn't loved as much as New Vegas, and that kind of drives them crazy. I think that it's a complicated relationship for sure. This revelation of the PowerPoint is insane, and I would love to hear the explanation that makes that not insane. But overall, I think it does validate what the suspicion has been and the vibes have been for a long time, which is just that the The feeling has always been off. It's always been weird. Whenever New Vegas comes up, there's always like a tension, just a weird energy fills the room whenever New Vegas has been brought up historically with Bethesda. And they tried reframing it around season 2 where it's, well, we published it, we were involved and all this. But that's clearly not what the feeling was at the time. And it doesn't seem to be the case now. Can we kickstart a bounty to get the PowerPoint? Dude, imagine if somebody had that. Imagine. That would be crazy. That would be crazy if somebody could find that PowerPoint. Anyway, I think with all this, what are the actual takeaways? At this point, like, I don't think that there's a lot of positivity when it comes to like Bethesda with, let me back up. I don't think there's a lot of optimism or desire to work together when it comes to Obsidian wanting to work with Bethesda and Bethesda wanting to work with Obsidian. I don't think so. I just don't, why would they? I mean, imagine somebody does that to you and then comes back and is like, hey, you want to work together again? Like, no, get away from me. Like, I know I don't want to work with you again. That was terrible. You lectured me in a presentation after we did a pretty good job with a pretty restrictive schedule and budget and everything. And then you lecture me about all the things we should have done differently. Come on, go. No. Like, I don't blame them. Why would Obsidian want to work with them again? And why would Bethesda all of a sudden change their mind, even if it represents a payday or something? I don't think they will. The only way it could change is if somebody like now Asha, we were saying Phil for a long time, but if Asha came in and gave him like a kick in the pants and said, you guys are going to get along, you're going to do it. Okay. We're doing the remake, we're doing the remaster, or we're doing a sequel, whatever. She could just come in and say this is what's happening, and that could get the ball rolling. We do know that they're working on a Fallout 3 remaster, remake, what have you. It's not exactly clear what it's going to be, but it's expected that it's also going to be similar, at least in form, to what they did with Oblivion. My personal anecdotal experience and feeling, my vibe after speaking with my friends, so take it or leave it, is that I think the Fallout 3 release, I personally don't expect it to perform as well as the Oblivion remaster. I don't know. I guess let me know in chat. Let me know in chat real quick. Do you think Fallout 3 remake does better or worse than the Oblivion one? I think Fallout 3 does worse than Oblivion, because I just think like Fallout 3, it's a very unique game, but not a lot of people go back to Fallout 3 specifically. They go back to New Vegas, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's an anecdotal experience. I think better definitely does worse. Better for sure, worse for sure. That's because of the show, better because of the show. It's possible that the show does help it. I think New Vegas would make more sense, but if they go for the next season and go like revisit some sites from Fallout 3 and then they release kind of in tandem, that could work. Worse, better. Fallout as a whole sells better. That's true. Fallout as a franchise in general is doing very, very well. The other piece of it too is that Fallout 3 has not gotten hardly any attention from Xbox or Bethesda, so getting an update and more stability could really, really help. Fallout's more in the zeitgeist, I think better. Oblivion is only popular because of the memes now. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. Depends on how buggy it is at launch. Well, to be clear, I think they're going to shadow drop it, because we already know, in case you missed it, just a few hours ago, actually, like 4 hours ago, Digital Foundry posted an article. They also did a video on it, so I encourage you to watch the video. But they went back and tested Oblivion Remastered a year later and found that it is still just as busted as when it dropped. This is one of those things, let's be completely real, they got away with because they shadow dropped it. If this had been like sent to reviewers and this info would have come out before launch, I think it would have reframed things. But the excitement of the launch, I think, really helped blow it up. But basically, if you're not familiar, there's a problem in Oblivion that's held over through the remake, where the longer you play it, the worse it performs. So you can see there's a fresh boot versus a charged save. the way that this is framed is specifically, it's hard to look beyond the initial design phase when it comes to apportioning blame, which sandwiched the original game's architecture with Unreal Engine 5's front end. Both of these elements are notoriously CPU and GPU heavy, so the combination presents with extremely poor frame time stability that gets worse the longer you play. Still, the lack of updates suggests Bethesda didn't feel like meaningful improvements were possible, and not even making the attempt feels even worse. Basically, the longer you play the game, the worse your frame rate will get. And so you have to shut the game off fully, reboot it, reload, and then the frame rates go back up. So they could have tried to fix it. Either it wasn't possible to fix, or it was too hard, or they didn't feel like it was worth the time.
Obsidian only didn't clear the bar BC of the strict timeline. Had they had time to fix the bugs, they'd have gotten it. Emil must seething to this day about Envy's story praise despite the buggy gameplay.
I think the story being critiqued, yeah, that probably does rub salt in the wound. But as for why they didn't clear the bar, yeah, more time definitely would have helped. I think from my point of view, I'm like, they signed the contract. So Obsidian signed the contract agreeing to hit this Metacritic score in this timeline. As far as I'm aware, none of that was hidden. So I think it's unreasonable to be like suggesting something was hidden or tricky or sneaky about it. They just set a bar here, said you have 18 months to hit it. They got real damn close. I think 84 is still remarkable, but I don't think, as far as I'm aware, nothing was like deceptive about how they did it. But as you can see, like this is still a problem even a year after launch, and this is probably going to be an artifact in the Fallout 3 remake remaster as well. And if something went wrong, it just crashes randomly even now. But because of this, I think with the Fallout 3 release, it's going to be a shadow drop as well. Like, I don't think that they're going to market it heavily. I just don't think they're going to do that. So anyway, it's a fascinating little story, little tidbit. Thank you for the suggestion earlier, SK Under the Dome, for the recommendation on the video. Little dramatic, yes. I would not phrase it as Bethesda hates New Vegas fans. I don't think they hate the game. I think it's more just a broader contempt, a bitterness around it. And now that it's convenient to try and take credit for it, that's where the messaging is going. But there's always been a weird energy, and hearing now that there was a presentation done in 2012 lecturing them over what they should have done differently, while they're riding high and mighty off of Skyrim's success is pretty fascinating. It's a fascinating reveal, but there you go. He took my thing.